right, if you're an engineer working in factory automation, you already know the pain of trying to integrate new equipment. So today we're going to give you a massive shortcut that could save you hours, maybe even days of work. We're talking about how to review any technical manual in under 5 minutes. Let's jump in. So picture this. You're on a project to set up a brand new smart factory. Super exciting, right? But here's the catch. You have to connect over 50 different types of equipment, and every single one has its own quirks and its own way of communicating. And this is where the real headache starts. Every one of those machines shows up with a technical manual. And we're not talking about a little pamphlet here. We're talking about these incredibly dense documents that are often over 200 pages long. Sometimes you'll even see 500 pages. It's insane. So now you're just staring at a mountain of paperwork, literally thousands of pages. The project deadline is looming, everything depends on you getting this right, and you have to figure out if this machine will even talk to your system. So, where on earth do you even begin?
Well, here's the secret. The answer is you don't have to read everything. The whole key is knowing exactly what to look for. And that one little thing is a standard called GEM, which stands for Generic Equipment Model. This, right here, is your golden ticket.
So let's break this down a bit. On the left, you've got SECS2. It's the original communication protocol from way back in 1982. It's huge, it's complicated, and worse, every manufacturer implements it a little differently. Now, on the right, you have GEM. It came along a decade later to fix all that chaos. Think of GEM as the greatest hits album. It takes all the essential, must-have commands from SECS2 and puts them in one standardized package.
To put it another way, GEM is like a required reading list for the machines themselves. So instead of you having to become an expert in a dozen different machine dialects, GEM compliance means that every piece of gear speaks the same core language for all the important stuff. It's the universal translator for the factory floor.
Okay, so it's great to know what GEM is, but how do you actually use this to save time? Well, that brings us to a super simple 3-step process you can use to check out any SEC's manual in just a couple of minutes. Here are the steps. It's so simple. First, you just confirm that it's GEM compliant. Second, you do a quick search for network support. And third, and this is the most important one, you go straight to the back of the book to the appendices. Seriously, if you can check these 3 boxes, you can pretty much ignore the entire middle of the manual. It's a game changer. Let's walk through it. Step 1 couldn't be easier. Just open up that PDF, and right there in the first few pages, usually in the intro or the table of contents, you're looking for the phrase GEM compliant. If you see it, boom. You've just saved yourself from reading hundreds of pages of standard command descriptions, because GEM already defines all of that for you. Step 2 is another quick one. Just hit Control F and type in HSMS. This is the acronym for High-Speed SECS Message Services. Finding this tells you the equipment uses a modern TCP/IP network connection, which is exactly what you want. What you don't want to see is the alternative, this ancient, super slow RS-232 serial connection. In a modern factory, that's a huge red flag. And now for the most critical step of all. Forget all those middle chapters. I want you to scroll directly to the appendices. This section is the absolute goldmine. It's where you'll find all the specific data points and commands for this exact machine. And I cannot stress this enough, a SECS manual without these lists in the back is basically a fancy paperweight. It is useless for automation. So what exactly are you looking for back there? You need to find these specific lists. You're looking for SVIDs. That's stuff like, is the machine running or is it idle? Then DVDs, this is your live data, temperature, pressure, all that good stuff. You also need ECIDs, which are the machine settings, and CEIDs, which define key moments like process started. And finally, you have to confirm there's an alarm list and a remote command list. If these lists are missing, the manual is incomplete, period. So why does this 5-minute check matter so much? Because, let's be real, in the world of factory automation, getting this documentation piece right at the very beginning, well, it can make or break your entire project. This quote really says it all. The EAP, or the Equipment Automation Program, is the software brain that's going to run this machine. But that brain can only work with the information the machine gives it. It's literally like trying to write software for a remote control, but you have no idea what the buttons do. If the manual doesn't list the right data, you can't build the software. It's that simple. And this is where the rubber meets the road. A bad manual isn't just some small problem. It means your project is dead in the water. You're talking about going back to the vendor, begging for expensive software changes, and watching your timeline go up in smoke? This 5-minute check It's your insurance policy against all of that chaos.
So, look, this whole three-step check isn't just about reading faster. It's about protecting your project, your timeline, and honestly, your sanity, right from day one. Verifying the manual is your first line of defense. But remember, this is just step one. So the real question is, now that you know the manual isn't junk, are you ready for the real challenge of making it all work together?